Welcome everyone to a little more Pickering Unplugged, Lo-Fi Global News coming at you with that famous question, what's going on in the world today? Getting to it, the news, fresh off the press. Source, AP News International. European police crack encrypted phones, arrest 100. That's right, EncroChat encrypted phones were busted wide open as European police across the continent broke through the encryptions to arrest hundreds from criminal syndicates participating in illicit activities. So why does this matter? While, of course, it's good that human traffickers and others using technology for nefarious purposes are caught, combine this with the FBI using it to break iPhone encryptions, and China being able to penetrate VPNs. And what do you have? Goodbye, privacy. We always say, watch what you do and what you upload on the net, because others are obviously watching too. Next up, source, AP News International. Iran sentences journalists to death for fanning unrest. The journalist in question was found guilty of corruption on earth, a crime I'm not sure what it really means, but in Iran it carries the death penalty. The journalist had been living in France in exile, but somehow Iran was able to get him back to their country. I have questions, France, but we'll deal with you on a later date. So why does it matter? Simple. Let me ask you a few lo-fi questions. Do you like knowing what's going on in the world today? Do you like being able to read and watch all the fantastic places on this planet and see what other wonderful human beings are doing? Do you enjoy being able to trust what you read, hear, see, as if it's real? If the answer to those three questions are yes, yes, and hell yes, then this matters. You see, we need independent journalists everywhere with the ability to tell us what's going on in the world today. That is, unless you simply trust all 200 countries' governments in the world to tell you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And if that's the case, well, you're more than likely not listening to Lofi Poli Sci. Moving forward, because we never move on from anything. Source, AP International again. British judge denies Venezuela's Maduro gold in London bank. We brought you coverage of this story last month as Venezuela wanted to get its gold back from the bank. But now the UK government has firmly said, I think not. But why does this matter? Simply put, of course it matters. The real lo-fi answer? Let me break it down. The UK court said the government doesn't recognize Maduro as the official leader of Venezuela, as many Western democracies do not since self-appointed interim president Guaido came onto the scene. This puts Maduro, though, in a situation where he'll have to rely more heavily on non-Western powers for support, i.e. Iran, Russia, China, Turkey. As that happens, it will increase the rift between these countries and Western democratic countries. Examples, you say? Sure. How about China and the US trade war? How about France and Turkey over Libya? How about Russia and the US over the targeting of US forces in Afghanistan, election meddling, Crimea, Syria? How about Iran and the West on sanctions and arms embargoes? Or how about the nuclear deal? And really, I could go on, a whole lot more. But you get the point. Relations are already strained out there, Lo-Fi Nation, and this story about Venezuelan gold simply adds to them. Because if there's one thing we know for sure about gold, everyone likes it, and everyone wants somebody else's. We'll be following this story as it develops more. Next up, source, BBC News Latin America section. Mexico missing students, suspect detained in 2014 case. If you're not familiar with this, what we're talking about, let me catch you up. In 2014, 43 students training to be teachers disappeared after going to a protest in Guerrero, Mexico. It's long been thought that the cartels and government and police were involved, but 6 years later, there is still very little known. The number 43 became a rallying cry for Mexicans around the country as a way of saying, we had enough. Enough of government corruption. Enough of the cartels. We want to know what happened to our loved ones. This suspect that was arrested is the brother of a gang leader in Guerrero and is reported to have been involved. And you can't see me, but I surely did use the finger quotes around the word reported. There's so much ambiguity around this case, and after 6 years, it's hard to imagine that any of the evidence still exists. This suspect could be the real person behind the disappearance, or he could be a fall guy for the cartels and the government in hope of simply closing the case for good. We'll keep you updated as we find out more, Lo-Fi Nation. And a last piece of news from the BBC Australia section, and I wish it were happier, but maybe you can make it happier. Koalas face extinction in New Wales by 2050, report finds. If you love penguins, polar bears, elephants, and everything cute and cuddly in the world, then let's help our little furry friends to the south. Tell someone you know, hey, did you hear about koalas needing some help? Show some love, spread a koala meme or a hashtag. And don't come at me with koalas are mean little creatures. Well, guess what? Not every animal in the world is domesticated like a cat or a dog, and even those bite people sometimes. So should we be surprised that the cute and cuddly bite back because too many people like to play with things that they shouldn't? You know the real lo-fi answer. Save the koalas, my friends. Save the koalas. And it's a brief snapshot of what's going on in the world today. Always remember that Lofi Poli Sci is more than just me. It's the we that we be. Write in to lofipolisci at planetmail.com. Thanks for listening. Stay safe. Wash those hands. And I'll see you on the next episode of the Lofi Poli Sci podcast. Pickering, signing off.